Yo, so guys, welcome back to another video. This is another random reaction, and this was a suggestion through my YouTube comments recently, and it's because I asked the question, like, why is the UK, like, why is our food so bland in comparison to somewhere like the US or Mexico or Spain or Italy or Japan or just like where everywhere else basically other than the UK. Like, I like some of the foods here, like roast dinners. You can't beat a roast dinner or English breakfast. I mean, I don't actually have English breakfast because I don't want to die at the age of 25, but like every day. But every so often, it's nice to have one, right? But other than that, I mean, we haven't got like fun spice. Like, I've grown up in a family where they don't eat spices, so now I can't handle spices. I cannot handle spices at all. I find like those Dorito, like the heat wave Dorito ones. They're not that hot, but even for me, like I get a bit of a kick out of it, and I'm like, you know what? I might need to chill out. I might need to blow my nose a little bit. Like, it's crazy for me, but I did ask the question, like, why are some countries so much more interesting with the foods that they have and the spices, and why is it just so much more exciting compared to, again, the UK or England? And this video was suggested, and the video is the geography of spices and herbs by Atlas Pro. If you want more reactions from this channel, let me know in the comments. But I mean, yeah, let's just get into this one. I'm gonna guess it's something to do with colonization, but I don't actually know. And I mean, yeah, we're just gonna check it out. But before we do, quick shout out to my Instagram and my Twitter, links in the description for those interested. Same for my Patreon, links are all there for those interested. And yeah, man, let's get into this one. Let's see what this video has to say.
Let's face it, spices are the best part about eating food. They're what go into sauces, seasonings, and directly onto our meals to make us want to eat. The fact that spices are great has been known for millennia now, and has at certain points in history led to tremendous changes in society, economics, and people. After all, Columbus was trying to find a new route to the East Indies to access the spice trade when he accidentally stumbled upon America. That means everything afterwards, the colonization, the destruction of the indigenous population, and even the Atlantic slave trade were all inadvertently caused by the search for spices. Before that, caravans would cross deserts and seas to transport spices from one end of the known world to another. Not only did this drive the exchange of goods and currency, but created cultural interaction and diffusion, leading to the spread of ideas, religions, and technology across the world. Despite the huge role spices have played in human history, few people know about the vital role geography plays in both the growing and usage of spices in foods. Perhaps the most
What I've
important
noticed
thing to
is sort of the hotter the country's climate, the spicier the food. That's probably gonna sound so stupid, but like you got to think of it like Mexico, the US, obviously some parts. I'm gonna sound so stupid here. You got Spain. Italy isn't really like as spice. It's more like herbs and stuff. But again, a lot of the Mediterranean countries, the Middle East, like they're all sort of along the similar sort of line. I'm pretty sure. What's it called? Equator of the Earth or whatever it's called. You know what I'm trying to say?
understand about
I'm
them
just
is
gonna
that
go.
spices are defenses.
I'm
Let
waffling,
me
man.
explain. So the same way predation of smaller animals by larger ones leads to certain animals developing some crazy defenses, plants are eaten by animals in what's called herbivory, which can lead to plants developing similar defenses over time. Some examples of this include plants growing thorns, high off the ground, and thick skins like bark. But by far the most common form of defense plants use are chemical defenses, usually by storing up a large amount of toxic chemicals in their bodies, so that when eaten by herbivores, it either kills them or at least injures them enough so that they never eat that plant again. So the same way poison dart frogs accumulate poison on their skin to deter predators from eating them, plants will store poisons in their bodies or fruits to deter herbivores. These poisons are our spices. For bigger animals like humans,
Wait, what? So does that kind of bring the possibilities of maybe more spices just being created because of plants using their defenses? That is wild. That is absolutely insane. Are you actually crazy? What the
this
fuck?
poison just tastes interesting or different because we have a much higher tolerance than the smaller organisms that these chemicals target. By now you might be asking, but they're still toxins, right? So why do we enjoy eating them at all? The answer to this is actually found in the single greatest plant predator on Earth, decomposers. More specifically, bacteria and fungus. Most often, the toxins stored in the bodies of plants are to prevent the growth of these decomposers inside the body of the plant. If it weren't for these chemicals, decomposers could get in and, well, decompose things, killing the plant in the process. So now, think about humans a few thousand years ago. They'd hunt and catch animals, and sometimes massive ones, whose meat would sustain tribes for days or even weeks. But they couldn't simply put their leftovers in the fridge. Without that convenience, bacteria and fungus like mold would quickly grow and make any leftover food rancid. If only there was a chemical designed to kill bacteria and fungus that was so abundant you could metaphorically say it grows on trees. Oh wait, here's this weird red thing that kind of makes my tongue tingle when I eat it, but it does exactly that. So yeah, spices were used to kill any bacteria and such growing on our food in order to prolong the window in which it could be eaten. They'd also help mask any bad flavor the meat had acquired due to rot. This made spices extremely valuable. If you wanted to survive, you had to be able to stomach these toxins. Therefore, whoever was more resilient to the toxins we called spices were more capable of surviving in times of scarce food options. Basically, whoever could handle spicier foods could eat the safest food.
So basically, I would be fucked. I would be fucked, bro. Because I tell you one thing for sure, man. I cannot handle spicy foods. Peppers, even the least spicy peppers, man. I cannot handle it. I should say that. I can handle, like... wait, is it peppers? Chilies. I can handle peppers. I can't handle chilies. Chilies, nah. Even the least spicy chilies is what I meant to say.
Food. In this way, evolution selected towards us not only being spice tolerant, but actually for us to enjoy the flavors of spice, because it meant we were eating safe food. But the use of spice didn't happen evenly across all human populations. If you think about it, we put food in refrigerators to make them colder so that they last longer. This has to do with the metabolism rates of bacteria and such, as metabolisms occur at faster rates in warmer temperatures, meaning bacteria can eat and reproduce faster and cause even more damage. Therefore, putting food in a warm environment will shorten the amount of time that it's safe to eat. What this results in is food rotting faster in areas that experience warmer.
There we go. So I'm actually kind of onto something here, to be fair, in a sense. I mean, I wasn't actually... This isn't the Mediterranean here, and obviously the US is here, and the Middle East is here, but I was kind of onto something.
Like the tropics. To combat this, a greater quantity and diversity of spices are typically used in tropical and subtropical places to counteract the higher rates of bacterial growth. In colder places, like the temperate regions, the opposite is true. Sometimes, the temperature here can fall below freezing, and food will stay good if you just leave it outside, meaning there's less of a need to season it with spices. It also just so happens that it gets cold right around the same time food gets sparse, and preservation becomes a necessity. Think, in the summer, food is usually plentiful, and therefore there's no real need to preserve food because you can always find more. But in the winter, animals take refuge and all the plants lose their foliage and fruits, so the food people can find has to last longer. What I'm getting at is the only time food needs to be preserved in the temperate areas, the environment does it for us. But in the tropical regions, the dry season will come to make food scarce, but high temperatures persist, making spicing food necessary. This explains why cuisine in, let's say, Britain is disgusting, but food in...
Come on, you're not going to do us like that, man. I mean, you're not wrong, but come on.
Let's say India.
I want to just see, quickly, British cuisine. I've just got to see what sort of food... It's gonna have like fish and chips, right? It's gonna have fish and chips. British cuisine, toast. Oh, you gotta love a bit of toast, right? Wait. Oh, wait, I'm confused. I'm so confused. So full breakfast, fish and chips, the Christmas dinner, Sunday roast, steak and kidney pie, shepherd's pie, not for me. Bangers and mash, yes, please. But saying that, even then, I don't have bangers and mash. I don't eat any of these apart from, honestly, Sunday roast. I don't even eat that. That's what I wish I had, but I don't have that. I mean, it is just basic, man. But you ain't got to do us like that, bro. So, beef Wellington, fish and chips, chicken tikka masala, bangs, to be fair. Fish and chips, beans and toast, beans on toast. Oh, we are sickos, bro. British people are sickos.
Yeah, is amazing. This is also why so many Europeans valued spices so much and sailed everywhere in the world looking for trade routes to access these spices. On the biological side of this, because bacteria and fungi grow faster in warmer conditions, plants around the equator are more likely to store up chemical defenses to dissuade them as well. So not only did people who lived in the tropics have a greater need for spices, they also had a greater and more diverse arsenal of spices to choose from. This has led certain areas on the globe to develop abundant natural spices. Because of this, instead of doing what I did with fruits and go through each fruit individually, I decided this time to go through the hotspots and then catch any spices that don't belong to a certain hotspot at the end. The first important concentration is to be found in India and the rest of Southeast Asia. This area stretches from the subtropical into the tropical and once hosted the largest and oldest rainforest on the planet. Southern India is where basil, turmeric, and black pepper, the most common pepper we use today, comes from. Curry also originated here, but that's actually a combination of several different spices, not just one plant. Further south, it's thought that cinnamon first began in Sri Lanka. To the east, we have where ginger and the licorice plant got their start. And yeah, before you ask, it's the root of the licorice plant that we used to flavor licorice candy. Lastly, for this region, we maybe have the most common spice currently being used in the world: sugar. A lot of people might disagree with this, but if you think about it, it's just another plant-derived substance we use to flavor our food, which is exactly what every other spice is too. Whether or not you consider it a spice though, sugarcane, the plant responsible for 80% of our sugar production, is thought to have come from this region as well. Nearby are what's called the Maluku or Moluccas Islands in Indonesia. However, they used to have a much simpler name, the Spice Islands. From these few small islands, cloves, mace, and nutmeg originated. It was these islands in particular that drove the Portuguese and later the Dutch into the East Indies, and it was a trade route to these islands that Columbus was looking for when he set sail in 1492. Then, on the other side of the world, Mexico was also a hub of maybe a lot of people's favorites. It was here that both paprika and vanilla originated. What's strange is that traces of vanillin, the compound that gives vanilla its flavor, has been found in old world tombs dating back thousands of years. Archaeologists found this substance coating the jugs within an untouched Bronze Age tomb in Megiddo, Israel. This indicates there might have been some exchange between the Americas and the old world almost 4,000 years ago. Also, they were using vanilla to flavor their olive oil, which, I don't know, just doesn't sound good. If that isn't enough though, it was also here that the cacao tree, what we use to make chocolate, was also first domesticated, most likely by the Olmec or Mokaya people, though the plant itself likely originated further south in the Amazon region. This plant was so prized that its beans were used as currency throughout several different Mesoamerican cultures. What's funny is that initially this plant wasn't desired for its beans, which is the part we now use to make chocolate, but instead it was the sweet pulp of the plant that was highly valued because it would be fermented and used to make alcohol. Iran is actually where a lot of spices are grown today, as its hot and arid climate replicate those found in places like the Mediterranean and Mexico very well. As for what spices originated here, both cilantro/coriander, yeah, they're the same thing, and cumin came from this area.
I'm not gonna lie, coriander is one that I'm not a fan of. I've been trying to have it recently. It's just something I don't like. The rest of the spices I love, but coriander is just, it ain't for me.
But I saved the most important herb and spice hotspot for last. The Mediterranean region.
To
start,
so I wasn't
the
actually
most common type of bay leaf comes from this region, though different types can be found across the world. Chamomile also came from this region. Mostly used for tea now, it got its name in English via French, via Latin, via the Greek word chamomile, meaning earth apple. Fennel plants aren't too popular, but they're one of the main ingredients in making absinthe. The Greek word for fennel is marathos, and marathon.
That's like 80% alcohol, whatever is the green, disgraceful alcohol, bro. If you drunk absinthe, I've tried it before when I was like 16, boy, I had the worst. But that is just toxic, man. You cannot. I had the worst night. I can't even lie. I just remember tasting that, and I was just. I could even drink.
It translates into field of fennel. So the Greek city of Marathon was originally just built in a field of fennel and named accordingly. Then a battle between the Greeks and Persians happened here, and someone had to run 26 miles to Athens to tell them about it, and that's how we ended up with the marathon race. Lavender also came from the Mediterranean region, which for the longest time went by the Greek name nard. So good call switching it to lavender. Mint has spread across the world, but it's thought to have originated here as well, though it grows best in wetter climates. Primarily, mint is grown near other more important plants, so its pungent smell keeps other pests away. It's basically only humans that actually like the smell and taste of mint, which is weird because mint is almost exclusively used because we think it smells good. Breath mints, toothpaste, mouthwash.
That is insane. That is actually crazy. That is so
and
weird.
Chewing gum all use the aroma of this leaf, which only exists to keep herbivores from eating it with its awful smell. Actually, I guess that does make sense, because if your breath smells like something that kills bacteria, then your mouth must not have any bacteria, and therefore must be clean. Anyway, mustard plants also got their start in this region. While many might be thinking of the condiment mustard,
No.
which is made from the seeds of mustard plants, mustard as a family includes the genus Brassica, which also includes turnips, cabbage, collard greens, kale, cauliflower, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and canola plants. Yeah, mustards are more important than people realize. Oregano, on the other hand, is known to have originated specifically in Greece, and its name comes from the Greek words oros, meaning mountain, and ganos, meaning joy, to make joy of the mountains, which is where wild oregano first grew. Saffron is one of the most expensive spices by weight, and that's because the part we use as a spice comes from the elongated stigmas, this part of the saffron flower, which usually only yield a couple per flower. They were specially bred on the island of Crete during the Bronze Age to be like this. From here, it spread to become popular in foods and medicines. While rosemary, sage, and thyme also come from this general region. They're pretty regular spices. I couldn't find anything cool or specific to say about them though. And that wraps up all the major hotspots for spices. Next, we have the spices that appeared all on their own. Allspice, which has been described as sort of tasting like cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves all together, is also known by another name, Jamaican pimenta. So yeah, no surprise, allspice got its start on the island of Jamaica in the Caribbean. Cayenne peppers are the classic red pepper most people probably think about when thinking of spicy peppers. These actually come from the French Guiana in South America, specifically from the Cayenne region. Funny how that worked out. The name cayenne originally comes from the native Tupi word guiña, which also just means pepper, so cayenne pepper literally translates into pepper pepper. Garlic, in my opinion, is just the best, and comes from Central Asia, where Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and the Chinese Jianshan Mountains meet. Then we have jasmine, which is actually a genus containing over 200 individual species. Being so numerous, it's hard to track just exactly where they started, but it's thought that southern China is where they came from. Sassafras is really the only spice I have on this list that comes from a more temperate, wet climate, originating in the east coast of North America, roughly from Ontario, Canada to Florida in the United States. It's the root of this tree that was used to flavor root beer, hence the name root beer. And lastly, we have the spice melange, which we all know is native to and only grows on the desert planet of Arrakis. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, maybe consider liking and subscribing.
Wait.
And lastly, we have the spice melange, which we all know is native to and only grows on the desert planet of Arrakis.
Wait, what?
Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, maybe consider liking and subscribing. If you'd like to support me and this channel...
Again, man, a good video. I really enjoyed this. This is incredible to sort of see where these sort of things originate from. But man, the UK slander, I understand it. It's just like, what's the word? It's just like out of pocket, man, out of pocket. Britain, I'm going to colonize the world for spices. Also Britain, I'm not going to use any of the spices though. Indian spices exist. British, gonna conquer this land. China, tea exists. Yeah, there too. India has spices. Britain, hippity hoppity, you're my property. Plants develop poison inside their bodies so nobody gets close. Humans, yes. Real life law, Britain's food is disgusting. Atlas Pro, Britain's food is disgusting. British cry. Wait, is this real life law? I did think it sounded like him. I thought it sounded like him, but I don't actually know. I don't really know. He sounds like someone familiar for sure. He who controls the spice controls the universe, Frank Herbert. As an Indian, my kitchen is stocked with almost all the spices you mentioned and more. It's true, even our toothpastes are spicy. We won't even tell you what we have in the Himalayas. There's a sequel, herbs, which you missed out on. British colonisation, 100 years for spices, now fish and chips. Don't diss the fish and chips, man. They bang. They actually bang. Can't beat a battered sausage. Plants develop defense mechanism. Human eats plants anyway. Plants. Am I joking to you? Fuck's sake. But I enjoyed this again. And thanks for the suggestions for this, because this is something I wouldn't have thought I'd react to. But now I actually have. I actually really enjoyed this. But I mean, yeah. Hopefully enjoyed more reactions from this channel or reactions like this. Suggest what you want me to see. And yeah, until next time, like, subscribe.